In my country, Malaysia, it is common to ask kids, small kids, to run small errands. Example, boleh tolong pergi kedai belikan bawang? Boleh tolong mak belikan prepaid top up? Which simply means, can you run to the stall, get me a couple of onions? Or can you help mom buy prepaid top up? And we don't think about the dangers that might be lurking out there. Our mind goes to the good things, only goes to the good times, but the world is not that kind. And sometimes one small errand run is all it needs for a child to never return back home. And some of those stories, they are so heartbreaking, so raw, and they leave such a huge scar on the entire nation. And today's story is one of those. Her name was Nurul Nadira Abdullah, but she was mostly known for her sweet little nickname, Dirang. She was a bubbly, curious little girl, just 4 years old. And on March 2012, she ran out of her house to the nearest store to get some instant noodles and never came back. Today, let's dive into her story. Hi you guys, and welcome to the GMC channel, where I bring you the ghost, the mystery, the crime from my country, Malaysia. I am Esther Vincent, also known as LiaMia on social media. Do follow me, do like, do subscribe, do share this video to your friends. And today I hope you guys stick around till the end of this video. Thank you. Now back to the little girl, Dirang. Dirang, she lived with her family in Flat Seri Delima in Bandar Seri Alam, Johor, the neighboring state of Singapore. She was a child, just 4 years old, so innocent, so playful, and she was always seen tagging along her mother or her siblings. That morning, the 1st of March 2012, she left her flat with some money in her hands, running to the nearby stall just to get some instant noodle, Maggi noodles, which is like a Malaysian local favorite, and some eggs. It was something that she had done multiple times before. It's not something new. The stall is very close to her house, so her mother gave her some cash and asked her to run this errand. Like I mentioned early on in this video, it's very normal in Malaysia for kids to run to these kind of nearby stalls because we go down to go get some snacks for ourselves or run this kind of errands. I remember, doing these kind of errands myself, but I was already 10 years old, 11 years old when I was allowed to go to these kind of stall. In this story here, Dirang was just 4 years old. So I personally do feel that she was a little too young. She haven't even started kindergarten. So I do feel that she's a little too young. That's just my personal opinion, but yeah, it's very normal here. So Dirang would be running to the nearby stall to get these items, and that would be the last time anyone saw her alive. An hour would pass by and Dirang not returning back home. That's when panic started to set in. Dirang's mother would go to the store herself to search for Dirang, but the shopkeeper would tell her that Dirang left as soon as she got the noodles and the egg, like she left running back towards her home. Soon everyone was informed and the whole neighborhood got together trying to search for the missing girl. A police report was soon lodged and posters were printed and put up. Social media blew up and news outlets started taking up the story with the title, quote, "An almost 5-year-old missing after going out to buy groceries," end quote. Sadly, days would pass, then a week, no clues, no signs, no leads, no suspects, until something chilling surfaced. 8 days after Dirang disappeared on the 8th of March 2012, a group of people walking past an oil palm plantation in Nusa Damai spotted something suspicious. It was a charred bundle that looked like burned clothes in an abandoned house. But when they got closer trying to inspect it, they realized what they're seeing is not a bundle of burnt clothes, but there was a small body burned beyond recognition. So automatically the police and the forensics were summoned and an investigation started right after. DNA tests later confirmed it that the charred body was indeed of the missing girl, Dirang. She had been murdered and set on fire to cover the crime. Dirang, who was just 4 years and 9 months old at the time of her murder, was confirmed to have been brutally and sexually assaulted by her attacker before being murdered. Like, Can you fathom that? I normally cannot digest these kind of sentences. Like, she was 4 years old. What do people see in small kids? I just cannot. I just can't. You know? She was brutally and sexually assaulted by an adult. Oh gosh. Anyways, Dirang's remain was eventually buried at the Masai Muslim cemetery after a short funeral. So what followed after was one of the most intense criminal cases the country has seen. In response to the public outrage, the police called Dirang's murder a cold-blooded crime, and they promised to do everything they could to find and punish those responsible. Very soon, 5 individuals were picked up for questioning. 1 female, 4 males, which included Dirang's biological father, Henry Yanggut, who was a Filipino citizen and had no legal documentation of his stay in Malaysia. I do have to mention that Dirang's parents, mom and dad, biological parents, were no longer together at that time. They were already separated. 2 suspects out of these 5 had passed drug offenses, and the other 3 were held until March of 30th, 2012 for further investigation. In the beginning, police suspected that Dirang's murder might be linked to a feud involving drug addicts that was connected to her family. But the case took a sharp turn when the police zeroed in on a man named Muhyiddin Maidin. He was a contract laborer in his mid-20s, and he was also one of Dirang's neighbors living in the same flats. At the time of the incident, he was also unemployed, so clearly he had all the time in the world in his hands. So after some deeper questioning with this guy, this suspect, it was found out that this Muhyiddin Maidin had indeed lured Dirang away with some sweets. He took her to the oil palm plantation, and there he did the unthinkable. He raped her and then smothered her to keep her quiet. I think he would have closed her nose and mouth, which would have resulted in her death, and then later on went on to burning her remains. Just imagine the kind of evil it takes for someone to do something this vile to an innocent 4-year-old child, an innocent little defenseless child. Gets on my nerves. The forensic evidence was overwhelming. His DNA was all over Dirang's body and her private areas, private parts. And the soil that was found on his motorcycle tire were the exact same soil from the oil palm plantation where they found Dirang's burnt body. Even the burnt sarong that was found at the crime scene was confirmed to be Muhyiddin Maidin's, because that was the only sarong that he owned. How was this confirmed? Well, his housemate was one of the witnesses that mentioned that was the only sarong this ugly guy owned. More than 30 witnesses took the stand, but Muhyiddin Maidin, well, he was protesting that he was innocent. He never killed Dirang or hold any grudge against her or her family. Can we believe him? I don't know. He said that he was at a friend's house on the 1st of March, the day that Dirang went missing. But that friend testified saying that he last saw Muhyiddin on the 29th of February, the day before Dirang actually went missing. So Muhyiddin's alibi did not stand. Justice Abdul Halim said that Dirang's murder partially happened due to her parents' negligence and the lack of concern. He mentioned that Dirang was too young to go out alone, even though the store was very close to her home, which I personally agree. Like I mentioned in the early parts of the video, she was just too young. She was too young to go and do this kind of stuff out there all alone, because she was just 4.5, not even 5. All this could have been avoided, right? But what can we say? It had already happened. Anyways, finally, the judge read out the verdict. Muhyiddin Maidin was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to death by hanging. Yeah. The courtroom was silent, but Muhyiddin, he started crying out aloud, throwing a tantrum, but there was no sympathy for a man who committed such a vile thing. But like many death penalties, it didn't just end there. He appealed multiple times: 2014, 2015, then again last year, 2024. But each time, the courts upheld the same sentence. He deserves to die for what he did. And honestly, I agree with that, and the public agrees with that as well. As of 2024, Muhyiddin Maidin still remains on death row awaiting his execution, which the date has not been scheduled yet. Dirang's death broke something in Malaysia. Like, how could something like this happen to a child in broad daylight? Because she went missing around late morning, early afternoon, which was like the peak hour in Malaysia, where the sun is like right on top of you. It's so bright all over. And she went missing in a broad daylight kind of time. How could this happen? Community leaders, lawyers, even Johor Permaisuri, the queen of Johor, came forward and said, quote, "We need stronger protections for our children," because this wasn't the first, and sadly, it hasn't been the last of these cases involving small kids. Dirang didn't get to grow up, didn't get to start school, didn't get to learn how to ride bicycle. Her life was stolen in the most horrific way. So if you are a parent, a neighbor, a sibling, a friend, let's all look out for our kids, the innocent ones around us, which are defenseless, because they can't even fight for themselves when these kind of perpetrators come for them. Because sometimes the monsters are closer, much closer than what we think. And so that, you guys, is the crime case of little Dirang, or her real name is Nurul Nadira Abdullah. And this happened not too long ago, back in just 2012. I was very much alive when all this happened. So the reality is just so scary. I was living my life oblivious to all this that was happening. Like, it's just so scary. If you guys have any thoughts of your own, please do leave them down in the comment section below. I would love to read them. Please do consider subscribing. It really does boost the channel. It boosts me to make even more videos such as this. So please do consider. Please do click on that like button, subscribe. And until the next ghost mystery and crime from my country, Malaysia, stay safe out there, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.